Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the Ghost over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And guys, we are here this week to review the book that's square in the middle of the Horus Heresy, The Unremembered Empire by Dan Abnett. And I really enjoy how he starts it, gets in the middle, and it's very speculative that he's ending the siege as well. So Dan just has to have all of our hearts.
Oh yeah, I think there's a very good chance that Dan's going to end the siege, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I mean they announced ADB is doing the second to last book, so it makes sense for Dan to do the last.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It was really cool to see everything happen in culmination, and all of the questions and concerns that we had, they got answered in the book. I do have a problem with the title and the concept of this book, though.
Okay, we'll get into that. Before we do any of that, we have to go through our normal BS. So, guys, if you want to interact with us, when you do so, it gets you into like giveaways and stuff. So I highly recommend. It's always a good time. You can go to our Discord. You can find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. If you feel like contributing to the podcast, everything that goes into that goes right back in. You can do that by our Twitter as well. We have tips enabled. You can email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. If you are on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell to let you know when we have episodes released. Leave us comments. Reviews are always great. Stars, thumbs ups, whatever. All the cool stuff.
Yeah, big news about the YouTube channel. We are releasing our first battle report probably before this comes out. So it'll definitely be up before you are listening to this. So if you are listening to this and you want to look at our first battle report, Tal versus Grey Knights, check it out.
Yes, we do plan on doing more of those. I know this one was delayed. We talked about this like a month and a half ago. A lot of issues with the first one, so we had to redo it. But this is better. Gave us 9th edition Tau. It was a good time.
We're still working through all kinds of technical stuff, so it's not an amazing battle report. It's fun. We do CS. We did miss a good amount of shot of our faces, so you're gonna be looking at our crotches most of the time.
And honestly, you're welcome.
We deliver blessings upon you today.
Yes, we know I'm a big fan of Slaanesh.
We are wearing clothes. I think that's important.
If you tip us high enough, clothes can be removed.
That reminds me of the joke that you used to make fun of me when I was in high school. I used to work landscaping, and my bosses was a gay couple, was a homosexual couple, and they always made jokes like, "Oh, do you work with your shirt off?" And I said, "Well, if they pay me $5 extra an hour."
You also did like bobbing for strawberries in their laps, and we've never judged.
They were fresh strawberries, and I didn't bob. I picked out of a basket that was in their lap. Yeah, there's so much exchanging of the story throughout time. It gets worse every time I hear it.
Yes. So yeah, all you gotta do is get us naked. Doesn't take much. $5.
So what are you drinking today, sir? I heard that your lovely wife made you a drink.
Yeah, I'm on my 3rd cocktail now.
Okay, one of those.
Don't worry, this one's almost empty, so I will be done. So my first one was some like bourbon smash type of deal. Actually, the first 2 were out of the cocktail book that you got us for Christmas.
Sweet, I'm glad to see it's in use.
Yes, so I had some like a bourbon smash. It was delicious. The next one was a Mexican fire hose or something like that. I don't know. I had tequila and it was really good. And then this one, she was just feeling wild, and it's like a twist on a whiskey sour. It's like Applejack in it. It's good. It's different. It's almost empty though because we just spent the last half hour shooting the shit.
I'm drinking it's literally probably maybe the best wine I've ever had in my life. It's from Gatlinburg, Tennessee homemade wines. Katie's a little frustrated with me in opening this. I kind of picked a random bottle out, but apparently this is supposed to be like a mimosa wine, but it is proper peach. It's a peach wine. Damn. It's good.
I might ask Alex to bring me up the sherry that we opened up because I might need to refill.
Sure, that makes sense. I'm also drinking out of my Hard Rock glass. I need to get
I
another.
honestly thought you were drinking like bourbon or something because that's what it looked like.
If you're drinking bourbon out of this, you
I
have a
mean,
problem.
look, I've seen you do some dumb stuff, so I wasn't gonna judge you. I was like, oh, maybe he just wants it to, really air out.
We really need to get some beer back on the podcast so I can drink out of the Heresy Lodge mug. That was pretty sick. So, Unremembered Empire. I have some qualms. I want to start with my qualms.
I also have some qualms, but let's hear yours first.
I have two qualms. This book was phenomenal, by the way. It was a great book. I enjoyed it from start to finish. It was really interesting. And Dan Abnett I think he's gotten better as time goes on. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm so excited for his later books.
I don't know. I think.
You like No Fear better?
No, it's interesting because I've No Fear ranked higher, but I really liked Legion.
Oh, he did Legion too. Ooh, that's true. He's just good. He's a solid. He's consistent.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, so problem number one, the Unremembered Empire. The reason it's called the Unremembered Empire is because later in the book, it's discussed about why there are no remembrancers in the legions that are involved. And Gilliman gives the answer that he doesn't want the empire that he's creating, because he's doing what was it called? Imperium Secundus. Yeah,
Imperium Secundus or something like that.
Creating Imperium Secundus, which is, we'll kind of get into it throughout the review, but he's basically creating a temporary empire, Imperium, and he doesn't want anyone to know or remember that it existed, just in case the original Imperium was there, right?
Yeah.
The problem is this is so well documented. This is like one of the most documented points throughout the heresy. I knew about Imperium Secundus well before I even started reading the heresy. Like, this isn't something that, like, obviously the Imperium still exists. We know Dorn is in Terra. We know the Emperor is still alive. We know that Terra still stands. So why is this story the Unremembered Empire? It's definitely the Remembered Empire.
Yes, it's very remembered.
Second qualm I have is who is on this book cover? That's Gilliman and Sanguinius.
Who we saw for 35 seconds.
Literally like a chapter of Sanguinius.
It doesn't make sense why they don't have the lion on here, because the lion was here like the whole time.
Literally like one of the main characters, and Sanguinius kind of comes
Curze.
in. Okay, so those. Do you have any more negatives about this book you wish to talk about?
Well, mine's kind of a story part, so I'll wait until we get to that part in the story.
Is there a conflict?
Actually, there's two. There's two story parts. One, how OP Curze is. And I will talk about that later.
I love it though.
It was awesome, but I have qualms about it. And then the second one is about feel.
Oh yeah.
So we'll talk about that when we get to that part of the story.
All right. So let's start making our way through. Okay. Gilliman has made his way back from Calth, and we're assuming back from the Betrayer book. So I think at the end of this, we recognize that Betrayer is the last time we had seen him. And he is working with Dantiak, the Warsmith. I thought Dantiak was also a very funny character in this book.
He's such a badass.
He is a badass, but I think I'll explain later why I thought it was very funny. So he worked with Dantiak to use what the hell is this thing called?
Pharos.
The Pharos. It's basically a beacon in the warp, like a little lantern thing that shines onto Macragge and says, "Hey, everyone who's lost in the warp, come here." I kind of wonder. I guess I kind of wonder, but I also don't wonder at the same time. It's like, why didn't like the Word Bearers and Angron go to Macragge?
We should go over there where that fucking light is.
There's this huge light. It's either Terra or Macragge, and We want to be in both of those places. But he shines that light, and all of a sudden, all these people start arriving there. We get some unimportant people, some salamanders, some iron hands, some raven guard. We even get a white scar.
We do get a white scar, and he has a cool scene.
He is actually the most badass of all the people.
Actually, fucking Uten might be the most badass.
Which one's Uten?
She was the Gilliman's mom.
Oh, but I'm saying the people that come from the warp.
Oh yeah, sure.
Of the people that come from the warp. There's also the Space Wolves. They come. We talked about that. He was kind of cool. I love this idea that Malkador. Oh, you got some extra stuff.
I had some sherry delivered.
There you go. Malkador is like sending out Space Wolves as a police force, which is an interesting a thing. We saw that obviously, and what's so funny to me about this though, you see it in Fear to Tread with the Blood Angels. You see it here with the Ultramarines. Who's watching the White Scars? Who's watching Dorn? Who's watching the Lion? You know what I mean? Like, there's only these two. I feel like that's a really cool idea that we haven't seen executed consistently, but still kind of cool.
Yeah.
All these people start coming, and they place, what's his name? Another big one that came in. It was the Imperial Fist.
Pollux. Alexis
Pollux. He comes in, and he is put in charge of the defenses of Macragge. And he's like, the first thing we need to do,
build the fucking walls.
Build some walls. It's time. It's time to build some walls. And he obviously, I think, so one of the funniest things to me about this is him and Dantiak. Obviously, Dantiak is an Iron Warrior, and Alexis Pollux is an Imperial Fist, and so therefore they must hate each other. And so they really harp on this hatred in the beginning of the book. Alexis Pollux doesn't trust Dantiak, and their solution is they're just going to talk to each other more, and eventually they'll figure out whether or not Dantiak is a threat to the Imperium.
Yeah. Also, interesting thing about the Pharaohs is, like, for those that are on the planet like Santo or whatever, they can like feel the feelings of the person that they talk to. Yeah.
It's an empathic machine, so it's based off of feeling, which is how the warp operates. But it's also predating the Eldar, so this was Old One's technology.
See, I asked Trainwreck if it was the Old Ones, and he said it wasn't. That it gets brought up in another book, but it's not the Old Ones.
Intriguing. Before the Eldar, the only other people that you can say it could be is the Necrons.
See, I also said Necrons, but that would make sense for the empathetic part, right?
I would agree with that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The Necrons use a very interesting form of technology that doesn't seem to actually work with the warp at all. You could maybe argue possibly that the orcs were created before the Eldar, but I think that's a stretch, and I don't think this is at all an orc device.
Zinch was just really bored. He's like, here, this will give like people something to do.
Could it be the Catan? I don't know. If it's not the Old Ones, then I'm at a bit of a loss. The Necrons and the Catan are the only ones that kind of come to my mind. But yeah, who knows? What I find really funny, though, about this Alexis Pollux and Dantiak relationship is very quickly it goes from, I hate this guy's guts, to
I respect the shit out of that guy.
I'm going to be the best man at this man's wedding.
It really is.
It goes straight up from I hate him to I can't imagine life without him. And I'm like, it almost gets a little too mushy for me at the end, where they're deciding like where they're going to go. And Pollux is like, well, I know that Dorn wants me at Terra, but
I just love you, man.
I'd rather be here with you.
And they make out. And the Lion is just like, what the fuck is happening?
they're mending the relationship between the Iron Warriors and the Imperial Fists.
And then the Lion's like, I don't even make my own Legion be friends.
Yeah, they hate each other. If they're from this planet, they hate the other ones from this planet. And I just think it was very funny to me how just insanely quickly the relationship went from like I love you to I love you, man, from I despise this man's existence. They were like, Antioch is a good man. Pollux is the most honorable man I've ever seen in my life.
And God damn it, you are beautiful.
It sounded like wedding vows. It's very strange.
I will never build a wall without you.
And there will never be a wall between us.
And I will never penetrate a wall without you.
Oh my god. Oh, I fully expect you to bring that up at some point during my wedding speech that you have.
Oh, don't you worry. I've already written it.
Oh no.
We'll first start off with, it's good to see you all again.
Oh,
then we'll go from there.
Very funny, very funny. Oh man. Anyway, you have John Grammaticus. Dun, 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 dun. So John Grammaticus, this was a bit of a story plot qualm that I had.
Ooh,
if we remember from Vulkan Lives, John Grammaticus was visited by an Eldar. Now I predicted that it was Eldrad Oath One. I think both of us kind of had the idea. It's probably Eldrad. He's the same guy that warned Fulgrim. He's a big character and player in 40k. So we just kind of assumed Eldrad's like the Eldar that people know.
Yeah.
So apparently, John is still on this mission with this little staff or trident to go kill Vulkan from the Cabal. But he gets in contact with Eldrad when he's on the crag, who Eldrad informs him, I've implanted all the things that you need to know in your head, and you just have to unlock them to understand it. When John unlocks this, it's a revelation that it's not like he knows the ends of the heresy or some crazy stuff. It's like a 3-step instruction. It's not that crazy. It's not
Look, like, step 1, step 2, here are the last 3.
Exactly. And so it's like, why would Eldrad go out of his way to psychically contact John Grammaticus on the crag just to be like, it's in your brain. Instead of just be like, okay, now that we're here, this is what you have to do. Bye.
No, man, you gotta make it interesting. It's John Grammaticus. He's a mystery.
It was so frustrating, and it makes me never want to play Eldar on tabletop because I just find that concept so annoying.
I have found them very interesting, and their new codex coming out too. I'm like, ooh.
They do look really cool.
They do look cool, and
their new tank ignores infolds. Or their tank is now. Yeah. Their tanks look sick.
Their stuff is really cool. I thought about it. I thought really hard. But I really want World Eaters. But World Eaters come out to the end of the year, which really pisses me off. Well,
you've been collecting very slowly. You've been painting very slowly.
Yeah, I need to finish what I have.
I've been working on 1,000 Suns. They're up here. I'm working my way. But yeah, I thought that was a weird thing. That like Eldrad could have just been like, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Vulkan is here. He lives.
So this is a qualm I had actually. So we have Vulkan, and he's just fucking like mentally insane.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to me because he went through all that torture and was fucking fine.
Doesn't make sense to me either. He went through all of that. Right before he teleported, he was mentally sane. He got burnt alive to ashes at one point on board Curze's ship. So this whole idea that, his head scrambled because of the insane trauma of his last death.
They came in like a fucking meteor.
I feel like there was a lot more crazy stuff that happened to him on board Curze's ship. We only saw a few of the many, many deaths that Curze inflicted upon him. So, yes, I think that there is a lot of inconsistencies with Vulkan's character between Vulkan Lives and Unremembered Empire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's just author thing. But it's very weird that Vulkan went through all that, was totally normal, teleported off. Also, the fact that he teleported, it took him a fucking year.
No, it took him
It was a year. It mentioned it in the book. Yeah, it mentioned in the book that it was a year.
Yeah, you wonder.
Maybe
like,
all the warp shit and was he's just woo.
It's just
really
like
messed up his brain.
Spinning around there for a year. Like the whole thing, it's like that whole hammer. It makes no sense to me. The whole thing makes no sense because first off, one, we have to remember that he was going to give this to Horus.
He was.
Horus, click the button.
Flying through space.
Click the button, see what happens. It's going to be great. The Imperium's like, we've been without a War Master for a year now. I
don't understand why he would end up at McCreek of all places.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, Horus just disappears. Vulcan's on trial for murdering the War Master. A year later, Horus just appears at McCree for Crag or whatever. So, this is my best understanding of the hammer.
Also, it survived going through the fucking atmosphere, but Vulcan didn't.
He should be better with his armor. He should make better armor.
I guess so.
So, I think this is my understanding. You click the button, and it teleports you to the nearest, like
the brightest light it can find.
Yes, which I think was supposed to be at the time when you click the button, the Astronomicon. So I think the idea is you'll wind up at Terra, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's still teleporting you.
Is it faster than a spaceship?
I can't imagine that he's just like for a year, you know? Like I'm imagining he's in the warp.
I hope he's doing.
He's got to be in the warp, right?
I don't know.
So this hammer, because first off, we know in this universe teleportation doesn't just like exist. Like the first time we've seen this was with the Pharaohs in this book. So it's not like Vulcan invented Pharaoh's technology and it took a year. So what I'm assuming is I'm assuming that the hammer turns you into a spaceship. Gives you a little bit of a Geller field, and you go skyrocketing through the warp. But also, that doesn't make a lot of sense because if that happened, that would have torn Konrad Curze's ship apart.
Yeah, for real.
So,
I mean, think about like how would he still like I know like the Primarchs and honestly the Astartes can like survive and everything like eating and stuff, and I guess he can't die, right? But still, if he gave that to Horus, Horus would starve to death.
Just click the button; it'll be fun. See what happens.
Like, what love this gift. And the fucking Eye of Terror, the furthest part away from Terra, and hit the button, and he just dies in the middle of space anyway.
Well, this is what I think with that. It's the warp, right? So time doesn't happen the same way. So what I'm assuming is like when he clicks the button, he instantaneously is transported, but it is through the warp, and in the outside galaxy, it took a year.
And in the warp, it took 60 years. It'd be a good idea.
It's just taking forever. We also know
so hungry.
We also know it's not the warp because he doesn't destroy Konrad's ship. And we know that there's not a Geller field. There's probably not a Geller field built inside this hammer. So we're just going to say the hammer is magical. The hammer is a magical hammer. Vulcan has a magical hammer. Because also what's very frustrating, and another thing, is later in this book, he uses the hammer's teleportation multiple times to fight Konrad Curze.
Yeah, and he just like teleports like behind him.
Like clicking the button and like teleporting all over the place. It's definitely not the warp. I've got no idea.
What is this like teleporting to?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like a really faster than the speed of light. You can't even see him move. He's like appears. So he's just traveling through real space like really fast for a year, holding on to it.
Yeah, after the fight, now like my whole brain just was like, what if it was like something like, oh, if I was there before, it like teleports you there, but That doesn't make sense either, because if he hit it again, he just ended up back on Curze's ship. And like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the teleportation device does not go to the homing beacon that we thought it did in Vulkan Lives. So
I still don't know what the point of that was.
yeah, the whole hammer. It's a magical hammer. Stop asking questions. It does what it does.
You fucking like it.
Is it warp technology? Is it old one's technology? No. Vulcan made it. It does what it
It's
does.
Vulcan
It's
technology.
a Vulcan technology, baby. It's doing crazy stuff. Vulcan, can I have one of those hammers? Nope, only one exists.
And trust me, you can't handle this.
I don't know what it does to me, but it's crazy.
I
New
come back
theory.
insane every time.
Vulcan's insane because he used the hammer.
You know,
Not
that
because
makes
of what
more
Curze
sense
did.
than what Curze did. Which makes it even better that he gave it to Horus.
I can just imagine. He like wakes up. He wakes up or whatever, because I'm assuming Vulcan lives again.
Probably.
Because there are many more books with him on the cover. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming Vulcan wakes up and he's like, wow, that is not what I thought that thing did at all.
It's actually just like hungover.
Oh
Man,
my God, I'm so
what
glad.
that was a high I've never had before.
I'm so glad I didn't give that to Horus. That would have been such a dick move.
You know, now that I think about it, this is the perfect weapon to give him.
I've got a gift for you. I've turned chaos. Just click this button. Trust me. Click it.
It's gonna go so. That'll be sweet.
So we've been ranting about Vulcan's hammer for the past 15 minutes now.
And we figured it out.
So Vulcan's there. He's lost his mind. He is being detained by the Ultramarines and Gilliman. And then the Lion shows up. Well, we know something about the Lion that
One thing I also didn't like was he like tried to act like the Lion was like a secretive character at first, hunting Curze.
yeah, he's like he grew up in the jungles. He hunts people. He's like
Yeah,
Tarzan.
but it's like we knew it was him. So like, why are we trying to like keep like make it like a big reveal?
Well, because this is what I think, and the reason why they did this. So the scene we're talking about is the opening scene between the Lion and Curze, where the Lion is hunting Curze's prey. And it doesn't say their names. They're the hunter and the prey. That's what they're called.
I thought it still called him Curze.
No, Curze wasn't. His name wasn't said yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
It kept both of them secret. And the reason they did that, I think, is because unless you read the short stories, you didn't actually know that Curze was aboard the Lion ship.
True. Also, the fact that he mentioned Sevatar several times and we never saw Sevatar.
We never saw Sevatar.
Bullshit.
So this is what I was very confused by this. So, okay, Curze is on board the ship and the Lion refuses to tell Gilliman, which is confusing to me. It is a very I guess you're right. It's confusing to me because I would never make that move. That seems stupid. But when we're talking about the Lion, that fits right.
It makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So it's very funny. Curze is up there doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans. And the Lion's just like, yeah, let's drink. Let's all have fun.
I got Sevatar and like 3 other like Night Lords on my ship. Like, we're cool, man.
I love the Lion is like, I come here to kill you in case you did the wrong thing. And I'm like, you think you could really handle that? You think you could handle Gilliman and the Night? You couldn't even take out the Night Hunter. The Night Hunter's just fucking around your ship. We can have 2 Primarchs fucking around your ship?
I actually have another qualm coming up too that I had a big discussion with Trainwreck about.
So Curze does break out. And we
But
do
how
get that
does
line.
he break out?
Curze breaks out in space.
But what does he do to get onto the planet?
Oh, okay, yes. I had a bit of a qualm with this too. So he initiates. So the Lion and all the Dark Angels and the Ultramarines, they're all lovey-dovey down there, and they're like, hey, Lion, well, why don't you join my new Imperium? Lion's like, I don't know about that, Gilliman. Maybe we should talk about that. And then neither the Gilliman wasn't like, hey, Vulcan's here. And the Lion wasn't like, Konrad Curze is also here. They're just like, fuck it, let's talk about this Imperium thing. And Konrad Curze is like, I have a really ingenious idea. The Lion is clearly an idiot and left all of his men combat ready for some sort of signal. And apparently, he shares the same genetic coding as the lion and is able to activate the launch sequence.
Yeah. So how they talked about this earlier in the book too. Like, I guess there's like a gene like biometric they do. Like they will like kiss or like spit on like a tablet is what I imagine,
Mm-hmm.
and then it like gives the authorization. What makes no fuck like
That's not very COVID safe.
No, it is not. They didn't wear masks. But what makes no sense to me is like all the Primarchs have different DNA. We know this from the short story, or not even the short, Deliverance Lost.
Yeah.
We know that they all have different ones.
Mm-hmm.
But like it makes sense if they all have like override like ability, because in case of emergency it makes sense for one of them to be like, we have to do this in case of emergency.
Sure.
Did they just not fucking deactivate the fucking traitors' permissions?
Sir, Horus has turned off all the Terran defenses. Well, who let him do that? We did. We gave him the codes.
Yeah. He spit on the tablet.
Yeah, he spit on the tablet. His code's clear. What? I'll spit harder.
Especially like for those of us that like work in IT, like it's not that hard to remove permissions for something. Did they just not do that?
This is what I'm assuming. This is where my mind's kind of gonna go to. Is if you think of biometrics, there's been tons of different things about how twins, their DNA is practically indistinguishable.
Yeah, but that makes more sense with Alpharis and Omegon.
Yes.
The line and fucking curse.
I think the thing is, like, we don't actually know how close genetically these Primarchs are. Just like a guess.
But we're in fucking 40 or 30K. If they can make a fucking...
Well, you've heard stories. You've seen these are real stories where like brothers, okay, where like will sleep with another brother, like one of their brother's wives, and the kid is recognized as his brother's son. Like, as in, like, the DNA was so similar that they were like, yeah, that's your kid, but it wasn't.
True, but you think that if it was like specific or like Legion specific, you think it would have like
only the lion.
That or like whatever like sort of like difference he has, right? Like we know like Lehman Russ has like canine DNA.
I would totally. There'd be all kinds of crazy securities in there, right? They'd be like, sorry, sir, spit doesn't do it. We only accept cum.
Can you actually smear some shit on there?
We are shit only Legion.
That is the fucking Fulgrim ship.
Did you just lick that tablet?
Look, sir, you're in the wrong Legion. You don't want to lick that.
This is security level 10. We're gonna need at least a quarter shake to verify your identity. Oh god, okay.
Well, the my qualm's over.
So the qualm I have about this scene is Konrad Curze makes a statement where he's trying to think about how he's going to get down to the planet. And he's like, wait a minute. A single man can't do this. And that's when in my mind, I'm like, he's going to break out Servitor and do some crazy shit.
Or at least the rest of his fucking Legion that's out there.
Doesn't even think about it. So he shits on the tablet.
Rubs his cum all over it.
Launches the Dark Angel assault on McGrag. Shit secured. We're going down.
Dude, we missed the whole Thiel thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
I want to time out. We're gonna time out. We're gonna back up. So before the line gets there is a message that Thiel is coming, and
Gilman's like, bring him in.
He's fuck yeah.
I love Thiel. That guy's hilarious.
He's a good time. And so like we get there, Thiel meets him, and he's like, hey, I got some people that like from Calth that really want to meet you. Like, can you talk to them? He's like, Dude, I'll do whatever the fuck you want. You're my boy.
Absolutely.
So
Go
he
get
goes
some
to
drinks.
yeah, so he goes into this room, and then he gets fucking attacked.
Because they're Alpha Legion.
Yeah. So if
So
this
many
is
things.
actually Thiel, because like I mean, Gillen kills all of them. There's like 5 or 6 of them, whatever.
Does it
And
in a pretty like shitty way. He gets injured pretty bad.
yeah, I am very unimpressed every time I see Gilliman fight.
Oh yeah. He's not like a great fighter. We know
He's
this. That's why he ranks so low.
He's like
Yeah.
16, easy. Garbage. Anyway, um, we have this like the one that is like Theo actually like talks to him and like sounds like Theo, and he says, I am Alfarius, and then fucking Gilliman kills him, of course. But if Theo fucking died off fucking like the record, I'm gonna be pissed as fuck. I don't.
Like what a great character.
But that's fucking bullshit. If he did,
Don't tease us with a good time by writing Theo into the cast list, you bastard.
yeah, he was so.
Dan, you son of a bitch! How dare you?
Where's that sword I got you? Oh, well, that's a little interesting. That doesn't sound right.
You know what? It would have gotten past the lion though.
Yeah, honestly, it would have been. Yeah, that sword fucking sucked.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Also, when we have the lion back, he doesn't have his Carbonite sword. He has the sword from Terra.
Called the lion, right? The lion is carrying a sword called the lion.
Something like that. I was really disappointed that he didn't have the Carbonite sword because I thought that was really cool. The thing that like I really
The Carbonite tooth, the tooth from the Carbonite lion.
Yeah, like I figured that he would end up killing Zahariel later down, and it would be a duel between them using their 2 swords.
That's one thing that has really devalued those 2 books to me, because we had, what was it? The Dark Angels first book was
Descent of Angels.
Descent of Angels, then Fall of Angels. And those 2 books, like Descent was trash, and then Fall made Descent better, and Fall was good. And then like all these short stories and these stories, they're just like trashing all those names. Like you kind of don't even need to read them anymore. They're kind of pointless stories. All the main characters that come out of them die really in stupid ways.
Yeah, it makes me nervous for Angels of Caliban.
Yeah, like I wanted to see, what I was really hoping was it would be like a story where the Dark Angel story is kind of adjacent from the Horus Heresy story. But it doesn't appear to be that way. It seems to be like they do have their own story, but we're not going to recognize those stories in the Horus Heresy series.
Yeah, which is a shame because
It
it's
is a shame.
interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, Dan teased us with a good time by saying Theo was there. We didn't even know Theo was gone.
Yeah.
We didn't even know Theo was gone.
So was that Theo or no? Do you think an Alpha Legionnaire just took over him? Like they did in Deliverance Lost?
Yeah, I don't think.
Do you think Theo's dead?
No. The problem I have, we didn't see Theo at all in Mark of Calth. And apparently he was there.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I really thought he was on the spaceship for the greatest space battle in history.
Yeah. Where's the greatest space battle in history?
We don't believe in space battles. Honestly, it's probably for the best.
For the best. We'll see what happens in what is the story we've been warned about?
Damnation of Pythos.
It's coming up.
I read the back. It is about Shattered Legions.
I'm cool with that though. They're okay. We get a lot of them.
Apparently, we're not supposed to be okay with this book.
Shattered Legions, they're dead. Let them die. So, yeah, Curze comes down. We also get a couple interesting characters with John Grammaticus. We get the return of Norak. Now, Norak delivers a line. Katie was in. What's so funny is Katie was like in the kitchen, and I was listening to it on audiobook at my desk while I was painting. And Norak said the line, "I need to use that weapon to kill Lorgar." And I paused it, and I was like, Thank fucking God.
Someone finally said it.
And Katie was like, "You hate Lorgar, right?" I was like, "Yes, I do. Everyone
How
hates
big of a
Lorgar."
boner do you have right now, Gavin?
Oh man, it was so big.
I'm raging right now, babe. Let's go.
Oh, I'm just gonna think about the death of Lorgar the whole time.
You want to find out if I'm fertile?
Oh my God, Dylan. Too far, too far. Anyway, you have Norak decided that he's going to use the weapon that John had to try and kill Lorgar, which is cool. I like that. Norak is a character that I've enjoyed. He ends up at the end of the book being captured by the Ultramarines, and he's being intimidated by Titus Prado, who is the librarian that occurs many times throughout this book. And Titus Prado is trying to tell Gilliman, I think this guy's on our side. Not like Antioch, but he definitely wants to kill Lorgar.
Yeah, he's like, I can read his mind, and he literally just wants to kill Lorgar.
He really wants Lorgar dead. And Gilliman is like, well, that's fine, but we're going to kill him anyway.
So, did Trainwreck talk to you about this story, or about a story about a dreadnought on McCreeg?
No.
So, I can't remember the name of the story. I think it's actually technically 40K, but there's a word bearer dreadnought that is on McCreeg.
Yep.
And he basically like turned away from his legion because they were full of shit, and he thinks it's Norak.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know
Because the
if
dreadnoughts
Norak
give different
survives.
names.
I want to know if Norak survives. I'd be interested to see how his story ends, because I really like Norak. He's like the substitute for Ogletal, but he's not corrupted, so it makes me like him a little bit more. So I'm like, you have some redemption.
Yeah,
And then
and
you
he's
said he
also a
wanted to
very
kill
different
Lorgar.
character.
Yeah, very different character. One thing I don't like about Norak is a very one-track mind person.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is my mission. I'm going to complete this mission. And it's like, for instance, he hates what his legion has become. So he's going to kill Ultramarines to fix it. I'm like, maybe you should think about that a little bit. But yes, there is a dreadnought. I didn't know it was on McCrag. I think it might have just been an Ultramar, but maybe it was on McCrag. But anyway,
I read the wiki about it because he told me to.
Yeah, in 40K, he was like from the time that they worshipped the Emperor and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think his name's like Alphatus or something like that.
Yeah, he's considered to be the oldest living loyal Space Marine, even older than Bjorn, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing there. John is also being tracked down by what's his name? Damon?
Yeah, Damon. So Damon is like, he's described interesting. He's like an assassin for the Cabal, but he's also like, he's basically a handler in this book for John to make sure John does his job.
Yeah.
But he also kind of feels similarly to John, where he's like, I don't fucking like the Cabal, but he has that soldier mentality where he's like, this is my mission, I have to do it.
I'm gonna follow orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's an okay character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I find him interesting, especially with his Eldar weapons that he uses.
Yeah, his little shuriken weapons.
Yeah, and how he captured the demon at the beginning of the book.
Yeah, it wasn't really described super well on how that happened, but yeah, he's okay. I think it's a little, the perpetual roster is getting a little bloated. That needs to be it.
We have all Damon, Grammaticus, and now the Blessed Lady.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Kroger is a perpetual. We know Vulkan is a perpetual, and we know that the Emperor is a perpetual. A lot of perpetuals.
I wouldn't be surprised if Malkador was as well.
Yeah, I don't know about Malkador.
Because, I mean, he's been living for fucking ever as well.
Yeah, so it's a possibility. So he's following John around to make sure his mission gets completed, which is kill Vulkan. And at the same time, John is told by Eldrad, don't give the weapon to Konrad, because that's what needs to happen. The Cabal have ordered John to give the weapon to another Primarch to kill Vulkan. And the only option in the planet is Konrad Curze. Eldrad has told John, use the weapon on Vulkan. And since you're a perpetual, you'll actually heal Vulkan's mind, which we've already discussed shouldn't have been necessary in the first place.
Also, the way it happens too, like he has to give his like life energy into Vulkan, who's a perpetual who can't die.
Yeah, so he has to give his life energy to Vulkan to help him remember himself.
Yeah.
But
And then I guess the Eldar can just fucking bring people back.
Yeah. So the way the book kind of ends for Vulkan and John Grammaticus. John Grammaticus stabs Vulkan, transfers his life energy to Vulkan. Both of them die. So it makes you think initially that Eldrad had lied and actually wanted Vulkan and John dead. But you do get two scenes. John Grammaticus was brought back to life by the Cabal again, which apparently, like you said, they can do. Who knows? It's magic. But he is no longer perpetual, according to Damon. He is a one life person now.
He's normal.
Yes, and Vulkan was also dead, but one of the only salamander that's mentioned, which I do want to talk about this for a second, but I'll get to it after this. The only salamander that's mentioned hears a heartbeat once. And we know Vulkan's gonna live, so we're like, okay, Vulkan lives. So we know that Eldrad probably did have a plan, but I think the plan's a little weird. It's like, hey, die for like a little bit, but then you'll come back with your memory that you should already still have. I want to talk about Vulkan though, and what fucking happens to him in this book.
Other than him just being fucking batshit and just fucking going through like Gilman shit, like, oh, I can wear that. Yeah, that fits. All right, cool. What about this thing? This is kind of cool. All right, I'll put that on. This is a cool. This is a nice mace.
But what blows my mind is this dude dies like 20 fucking times in this book, at least.
And then like comes back in like a second.
Instantly. They're like chop his head off and he'll be like, new head, let's go. Still batshit crazy. And I'm like, wow, the salamanders really have it bad. Every salamander that we've met so far, other than the one from what's the book with Perturabo and Fulgrim?
Angel Exterminatus?
Yes, other than one from Angel Exterminatus has died. And here in this book, we get one small, minor salamander character, and Vulkan, who's already died like 150 times.
Maybe all of Vulkan's lives comes from the dead salamanders.
Well, he's got a lot more to chew through. Damn.
He's fine.
They just keep dying. That's like they're really good at it. And Vulkan dies like another 50 times in this book. Like Konrad Curze is murdering him constantly. Which makes no sense because Vulkan last time we saw just beat the shit out of Konrad Curze.
But hey, he had his mind then, dude.
I guess.
He didn't go through the warp at 3,000 miles per hour for a year.
It's true. He hadn't clicked the mace button yet. So yeah, he kept dying, which I thought was like to a point it kind of became comical.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude just keeps fucking dying. Like, imagine, like, this is terrible. Salamanders really get shit on a lot.
They really do. Even their Primarch.
Their Primarch gets shit on, the Salamanders get shit on. Their Legion is just fucked. So, and they don't even get rebuilding technology that the Emperor gave Corax. The Emperor's like, good luck.
Dude, you can't die. You're fine. Just, I don't know. Fuck some bitches. I don't know.
A lot of our Legion believes in you as a god. Yeah, it's like 20 people though. That's not enough for me to pay attention to. Sure, we keep dying in droves. Yeah. I was really hoping you would die sooner, so I didn't have to give you any more attention.
Look, you're my least favorite.
Apparently,
next to Curze. Curze is fucking nuts. All right,
Curze
we don't like nuts.
So let's talk about Curze and his role in this. Curze is an insane badass in this book.
He destroys like McCree completely by himself. Almost kills 2 Primarchs and a fuck ton of Legionnaires. Maybe he's number 1. I don't know.
Dude, I'm telling you, Curze is nuts.
He was like busted in this book for no reason.
Yeah,
He
it's
went from
weird.
getting his ass beat by Vulkan and by the Lion to I just fuck up everything and
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, Curze was able to play to his strengths in this book. You remember like how he kind of grew up on Nostromo. He lived in these huge
He
cities
used
where he just
the shadows and shit. Although
yeah, and
the
he
way he
also
described it was some bullshit. It's like he was standing there, but now he's gone and it's a shadow. I'm like,
you mean
what?
he moved?
The whole thing was just like, oh my god, he's so fast. There's just shadows everywhere.
It's
He's
just a
just turning
shadow.
into them. I'm like, what is happening right now? Is he
He's a
teleporting?
shadow. You look at him, it just looks like a shadow. Well, just look a little bit to your right. He'll probably be standing there. You're probably looking at
Turns
a
out him and
shadow.
Korax have just been doing the same thing the whole time.
Looking around. Oh, geez. Yeah, so we know, like, for instance, the Lion and Gilliman are fighting Curze. There's no way that Curze would be able to win that fight.
No.
But he does. He, like, beats the Shadow Lion for a little bit and is still holding up against Gilliman.
He's
But
blocking both of them at the same time.
yeah, but you think back to, like, the two fights that we've seen between him and the Lion. They're kind of back and forth. It's a really close fight. Now, we do know from quotes later on in the Horus Heresy that even oh my gosh, what am I blanking on his name? Russ is like, I don't know if I can fight Curze.
It's fucking nuts.
He's nuts. But Curze blows up a building. That's how he almost kills the Primarchs.
With like 100 grenades.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why Curze is winning. Like you see scenes. This is another thing where I kind of had to put the book down a little bit. You saw a scene where like they're reporting to Gilman. He killed like 6 people. Oh wait, one's left alive. And the Lion's like, nope, don't do it. And then like they move the body and it blows up.
Yeah.
And the Lion's like, yeah, this dude does crazy shit. There's all of these bodies are rigged with grenades.
Yeah,
And
we
then
also have like the first captain who like got gutted. And it was like still like trying to fight Curze, and I'm like, man, Space Marines make no fucking sense on power levels.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Like you either get slaughtered in one hit or you just fucking you lose every single limb, every single organ, and you still are fighting.
Yeah. I think like one of my favorite scenes was I think it was Titus Prado. Is like they arrive at an alley or something and he's like, wait, there's tripwires. Dismantle them. And they go to dismantle them and they're not hooked up to anything. They're just wires. Like you just tied wires. And Titus is like, even his traps are traps. Curze was in his element and he kicked ass.
He did.
And at the end of the book, Damon releases the demon that he captured earlier. And we get a little clip at the end, little scene where Curze kills the demon and banishes it back to the warp. And then walks over a mountain. There's McCragg again. He's like, well, I'm going to keep fucking it up.
Well, good shit. What makes no sense to me is how like he fucks up all of these Primarchs, all these Space Marines, and then a random Perpetual unleashes a little demon, and that takes him away.
I don't know.
If
how
a fucking
this demon is.
Perpetual tricked the demon and put him in a flask, I can't imagine him being that powerful. It's not fucking Calbadan or whatever the fuck his name was.
Calbunda. I think so. Calabunga.
Cowabunga, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know what type of demon he fought, but he did. I think the big thing was the demon teleported him away, and that's what they needed.
Yeah, I do want to talk about this really cool scene because we kind of been all over this book.
Over.
So after this battle with the Primarchs, they're still searching for Curze because they know he's still alive. And Uten, who we find out is Gilliman's mother, basically, has told all the Shattered Legions, like, look, if you can fight for McCreeg, declare yourself and go out there and help. And of course they all do. They all march for McCreeg or whatever. And then we have the White Scar who's like, look, I'm a hunter. What would make the most sense is if he came back to where it's less guarded.
Yeah,
like
he goes where we're not.
Like how, like he's talking about how wolves hunt. Like they will make you think that you need to move your cattle. They put the cattle all in one place, and they will go and eat all the chickens because they just divert you. So he's like, okay, we all just moved away from the palace. Like, we need to go back. So like him and the Iron Fist, like they go back to the
Iron
palace.
Hand.
Yeah, Iron Hand.
The
and
Iron Fist.
They're all the
I'm
same
making a
shit.
new legion called the Iron Fist. Is going to confuse the fuck out of everybody.
They're all the same shit. But like they start going. We're in a room with Uten, and she like sends out like one of the humans to like make a report, and she like looks at the wall and she sees like blood on the wall, and it says Gilliman, and starts freaking her out. Curze is in there, and she's like, I'm not fucking afraid of you. You're kind of a bitch. And this is a human, like a 100 plus year old woman, calling Curze a bitch.
Well, it's interesting because it is really interesting you're saying that because I listened to the audiobook of this one. I've read some of it, listened to the audiobook for the majority because I was doing editing and I was putting together models and working. I don't know. I listened to the audiobook. And the way the audiobook made that scene sound, she was terrified.
Well, I mean, it talks about that in the book too. Like she like pisses herself or something like that, but like she still says it. Like when you like think of like how like people like react to Primarchs, or like most of them like they can't look at them, they like automatically kneel, like all this shit, and she's like, "Man, fuck you. Like I'm not actually scared of you. Like it's very almost like it goes like just well beyond like you would expect out of a human."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she gets saved by the fucking space wolves who he fucking slaughters in 3 hits, and then Vulkan comes and saves her life. But
yeah,
it was cool. It was a very cool scene how like that all happened. And the White Scar, very smart.
Yeah. She is a really interesting character. She's a very smart character. I like to see her.
I don't know how smart she is though. She is very much on the side. Like obviously she's on Gilliman's side, but she kept like pushing Gilliman to be like, "You need to clear yourself as Emperor."
Yeah.
And Gilliman's like, "No, that's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Could you imagine if Dad's alive? Oh man, I look like fucking Horus. That looks really bad."
That's true. Yeah. She laid out a lot of good points, but I think what's funny is at one point Gil was like, "I'll think about what you're saying, but I really hope another Primarch shows up so I can make them Emperor." And then the Lion shows up, and he's like, "Fuck."
Although he apparently looked up to the Lion for like no reason.
Well, it did talk about how he looked up to the Lion.
Yeah, because it
did say the Lion and Horus, but when Sanguinius did come, he was like, "This is perfect." There's literally,
thank God,
literally no one better. I love the scene where he was talking to Titus Prado, and he was like, "I want you to spy on the Lion's mind," and he was like, "Awesome, how's Vulkan?" He's like, "He's still crazy." He's like, "Well, fix one of them. I don't care which one. I'll make them Emperor." One of the two, just sort one of them out, so I don't have to deal with this problem.
Well, it's interesting, like when Sanguinius shows up, because like Gilliman is talking to them. He's like, "Look, the Lion and I both do not agree on either of us, but we both agree on you."
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and Sanguinius like, "Oh shucks, I guess I am the fucking angel."
Yeah, he doesn't like.
You have a whole legion. Like, it's fine.
Keep in mind, Sanguinius also just got back from blowing up planets and going to the and going to Hell in a Cell. So he's over here like, you guys have no fucking idea what's out there right now.
And then Curze shows up and he's like, "Oh shit!"
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to read that story with Sanguinius and Curze. I imagine a lot of it's going to go with Sanguinius like just incredibly annoyed that Curze is even there, if that makes sense.
I imagine this happening, and then fucking Portorowo shows up with giant siege machines, and they're like, "How the fuck did he get those?" And the Lion's like, "Yeah, that's weird. Where the fuck those come from?"
Yeah,
huh?
Never seen them before.
Damn, those really fuck shit up, huh?
Yeah.
So you think he like won't vote for me for War Master next time?
Well, that's what the Lion's still thinking. I still have Portorowo's vote. Oh, jeez. All right. I think that's all. The only other scene I want to talk about is the Space Wolves challenge to the Dark Angels.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have a beef, but I like it.
So I've heard a story about how at one point in time, Lehman Russ and the Lion got into a sword fight. And it was locked. Like no one could win the sword fight. And so finally they called it. And Lehman Russ was walking away, and the Lion punched him from behind.
What a bitch move. Sounds like the
Which
Lion.
it sounds like the Lion. I wouldn't put it past that at all. So from then on, the Space Wolves just fucking hate the Dark Angels, and they have this like honor thing to where whenever the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels meet again, they have to have
Like a duel.
yes, like a duel to the death. So yeah, I thought it was really weird that it was so prevalent because they were like, it needs to happen now. And Gilman's like, the galaxy is on fire. It's on fucking fire. And the Lion has come to me, the only brother I know that's alive, and you want to fucking duel one of them? Like, I would have been like, eat shit and die. You can figure that shit out in the mess hall hours from now. That is not what needs to happen at this moment. Like, I would have beaten the shit out of the Space Wolves. But he lets him, and then the Lion's like also equally annoyed with this nuisance. So he's like, "Yeah, I'll be the champion." And the Space Wolf's like, "What?"
Shit.
Lion beats the shit out of the
He
Space
just
Wolf.
bitch slaps them.
Bitch slaps this dude. It is great. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
He's
Fight.
like, "You done?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good."
It's
That
like
was it.
such a stupid thing that occurred. But yeah,
Also, another one I want to talk about is whenever they ended up, so after the Curze battle, they get pulled into the Pharos by Pollux and Dantiok because it has the power. And they're
emotion.
like, yes. He's like, so, and the Lion's like, look, either go back through this or you better find me a really fast ship. And I was like, I like that quote.
Yeah. I think the whole Pharaohs thing is something we'll have to talk about later because I don't think I quite understand it.
Yeah, hopefully when we actually do the book Pharos, it'll open up a lot more detail.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
It's
I
like,
didn't know there was a book.
yeah, I just bought a bunch of books recently. Pharos is one of them. It's like 7 or 8 books away, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So have we decided? So Scars is up next,
Yep.
which I've already started reading. Super excited for. It seems good. So,
I'm starting tomorrow.
so after Scars, we're gonna do Garo.
Yes, because then it's Vengeful Spirit, right?
Well, Vengeful Spirit's next after Scars, but we agreed with Trainwreck because he was gonna get really mad at us if we didn't do it.
Yeah, well, there's a big character reveal on Garo who shows up in Vengeful Spirit. It wouldn't make sense, I guess, if we didn't read it. Actually, the Horus Heresy guys, they also have Vengeful Spirit coming up, and also just decided to do Garo before it.
Sweet. Okay. Cool. That'd be fun.
So yeah, so next to Scars preview review, Garo, which we might actually have to do 3 episodes for. I'm not sure how much we'll have to talk about the stories because we haven't read them yet. I could see that being a 3-parter. We'll also have a special episode because that's going to be an anthology.
Yep.
Which will be good because it'll give us time to update our Primarch list. Because
Yeah.
we'll finally have seen every single Primarch.
Every single one we'll be able to know.
Probably.
Yeah,
Curze is probably 1 now.
So it's up there. I think that's it for me.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the book I want to talk about. There was a random thing that Damon said to Norak after he shot Norak to get John to escape from him. He was like, "This is from the Blessed Lady." So I'm very curious what her role is going to be now with the
Blessed Lady
Perpetuals.
is there, but we have no idea. Yeah, I'm interested
Yeah,
as well.
I'm excited to see what she's like. Other than that, I think that's it. So yeah, next week we'll be previewing Scars by somebody Wright. Chris Wright, I think.
Chris Wright. Yep.
I've seen him on Twitter as a very You know, like those fucking like the '90s fucking like ginormous mohawks. He's
Yeah,
got one of those
that's sick as shit.
huge as fuck, like a foot long. I have
That's
seen those.
awesome.
Like, holy shit! So yeah,
That's sick.
that's who we have next. Excited to finally read one of his books. I've heard good things about Scars. As always, guys, if you want to hear more from us, we're gonna be doing a test run of a Warhammer D&D soon on our Discord, and if it goes well, we're gonna have a big one, and it's gonna be awesome. If you want to get in on that, join the Discord.
There's also hobby meetups now.
Yes, super cool. A lot of the guys will just they'll just meet up. Some of them just sit there and talk. Others are working on painting, doing their models. I joined last weekend as I was putting together my Grey Knights. Fun conversations. We just shoot the shit and talk lore. It's a good time. So get on the Discord. Whole lot of fun that can be found on our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. If you feel like contributing to the podcast, leave us a tip. Everything that goes into that goes right back into the podcast. Look out for a new battle report. It'll be coming out shortly. If
Probably
not
is
before,
already out. Yeah.
hopefully. If not, it'll be very soon. Find that on our YouTube. If you're already on the YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave comments, ring the bell so you know when we have new episodes and battle reports. Leave us reviews, stars, thumbs ups, all the good things, preferably. You can give us bad things too, but man, those suck.
I like them. I think they're fun.
I love it when we get shit on.
Yeah.
I always want us to pretend like we are a tablet in the Warhammer. So that's it, guys. You all have a great weekend, great week whenever you listen, and we'll be back next week with Scars.